Good morning. How we doing? Hi, Delucian. Hi, Sean. Right, and today is... Let's get this mic a bit closer. A guitar lesson. How exciting is that? Right. And the title of today is Everything You've Wanted to Know About the Pentatonic Scale. But whilst everybody's tuning up, what I'm going to do is I'll just play a quick track and then we'll get into it. All right, hi everybody. So, first thing is, I just need to get this camera gimbal on. There we go. Second thing, turn the lights on. Third thing, fix the hair. Fourth, let's do some teaching. Right, so slight disclaimer. Teaching's okay, but I prefer coaching, right? There's a difference. Okay. When one is teaching, which I am doing today, I am kind of lifting your heads up and tipping information in there. When I'm coaching, much more interesting. That is when you're helping the client solve their own problems, which is a lot more powerful. But anyway, we're here now. And the cool thing about like teaching is for you, there's providing you do the practice, there's a guaranteed outcome, isn't there? You can predict quite easily what is going to happen in the future. All right. Hope that makes sense. So we've got quite a busy chat at the minute. Let's have some more likes to help the algorithm, and then other people might want to come along and, you know, get this useful information. Well, obviously Hendrix is amazing, isn't he? But I'm a fan of people like Richie Kotzen, and I like Greg Howe, although his approach is slightly different. Obviously, Eric Johnson, very good. I really like Eric Gales. Never really listened much to Clapton. So those are the guys really that I particularly like. But I think what we'll do is we'll get into this, right? So the first thing we need to consider, right, is we need to play this in all positions. So usually I like to do things in E minor. I think it's a good sort of place that I quite like playing anyway. And what we'll do is we'll start with the open position. Now I think one thing with the pentatonic scale is understanding like why the pentatonic, okay? And to be honest, I never used to think about the pentatonic scale much when I was producing music, okay? And then it occurred to me, the guy who was coaching me did this thing called everything you need to know as an Oxford graduate, right? Music graduate. And what he talked about was basically the pentatonic scale. So you have a composer, which you all know, Leonard Bernstein. And on the internet, Leonard Bernstein has a series of lectures that he did in the 70s in Harvard. And actually, it's the first lecture. Now, all of these are available on YouTube, okay? And I think it's called The Unanswered Question. So what he did is, Leonard Bernstein, when he was at Harvard, he was doing some research, and what he wanted to know was why certain really popular pieces of music were popular. Why did everybody like these bits of music? So as he was examining scores and looking through, comparing them and contrasting these pieces of music, he found one thing to be in common, and it was the series of notes that each piece had. They were different in terms of different keys, how they were inverted, all this kind of thing, how they were transposed, but essentially the same sort of coordinates were there. So what he did is he put a multidisciplinary team together. So there was him, a linguistics expert, and a physicist, he does mention, and they went off and they looked into why this was the case. And basically what happened is the physicist, which is the most interesting one, is he came up with the harmonic series. So in other words, when we hear one note, we don't hear one note, we hear a series of notes. It's a series, there's a fundamental, which is the loudest part. That's the big note, the lowest part that we hear. And then from there, there's a series of notes, right? I can't remember exact series. It's like an octave, a fifth, and then an octave and a third, or something like that. And then you have like this. You have what is a fourth that you can round up, and then it kind of, it sort of makes it. It's a quarter tone, but it's like near a fourth. So in other words, essentially within the harmonic series, you actually have the pentatonic scale. Very interesting, isn't it? So the pentatonic scale, no matter what we're doing, is 100% kind of with us. So it's a very natural thing for the human to listen to and accept. The other thing is, in young children across the world, they all tend to, like when the playground chanting and stuff and singing, they all use the pentatonic scale quite naturally. So that's also interesting, that the fact that the pentatonic scale modulations are built into language as well. So to the human ear, the pentatonic scale is very, very pleasing. So it makes, when you're writing music, it's a great place to start. I know it doesn't sound very complicated or sexy just to do a pentatonic scale, but when you're writing music, right, one of the things that can be really, really overwhelming, okay, is that we have too many choices, especially in today, right? Because we're all sitting in front of our computers, right? And this is one of the big problems that I try and solve with clients with coaching, is that they have too many options, right? They have too many options, they have too many plugins, too many choices. And those choices on top of all of the harmonic choices that we have to make when writing our music, all the melodic choices, all of this, it becomes very overwhelming. So like one good starting point is to know that basically a pentatonic scale is a great framework, isn't it? And everything you're going to do is going to make sort of musical sense. You're going to find that your music, when you're writing with the pentatonic scale, ties in very, very nicely. And you just, when you have a piece of music and it's like, oh, why does it all just fit together really nice? And that's fundamentally because at the core of it is like a pentatonic scale, okay? Now, I'm not saying that you should only use the pentatonic scale, right? But what I'm saying is it's a great framework to start. And despite me being classically trained, I was never told this, all right? And this is the kind of thing that I wish I was taught, and all young children should be taught, is that the pentatonic scale is a foundational part of the language of music, okay? And that to be recognised. It's okay then going off and learn your scales, because with me it was pieces, and then you learnt your scales, and the scales were just something you did for an exam. Other than that, it was just this abstract thing that absolutely made no sense, that was never really explained till I went to the dark side of rock music, right? And then that was like explained to me, and here we are now today. So the pentatonic scale, despite its simplicity, is fundamentally extremely important. And for us guitarists, how do we get about the fretboard? Obviously, there's like sort of two modes in this. There's the 2 notes per string, 3 notes per string, and then mode 3 is like a weird pentatonic shape, sort of like what I do, that would lean more into sort of a fusion kind of thing. But one thing we do need to do is we need to understand build a visual representation, most certainly, of the 2 notes per string. Because when you're phrasing around the pentatonic scale, we'll have to be able to navigate round the fretboard, doing our nice little melodic sort of tunes and ideas like that, okay? And if I'm using a visual representation, then that's certainly like we're in the 2 note per string visualization thing. The fingerings and that kind of lead themselves to that, because they're quite nice to phrase around, okay? So to get us there, let's just go through, and some of you guys will probably know this, each pentatonic scale, right? Now, here we go. Now, I don't really spend any time playing up and down these, but let's do this. So the first one, we'll go on a slightly more sensible sound maybe. Okay, so first one is just open, okay? So the way I finger this one Okay, as I start, just open, second finger, open, first finger, open, first finger, open, first finger, open, second finger, open, second finger. Alright, there's a couple of changes I'll do. Now, when I'm kind of using this open position, sort of this part, I will switch to the first finger. Just keeps the fingering simple. So that's the first thing to point out. So the thing is with the pentatonic scale, despite it being 2 notes per string, the fingerings, even on 2 notes, can get quite complicated because you're changing about. So you'll watch other players that may use like the second finger because it's basically easier if you're on heavier strings to kind of bend. Again, I like my first. So that can be a personal preference. I don't think, because it's so limiting, I don't think there's a right or a wrong way for this. You just have to experiment and get comfortable with it. But bearing in mind that you will be required to do multiple fingerings for your pentatonic scale. Okay? So the next thing is position 2. So that's position 1, right? So position 2, if we're playing up and down the scale, we can play it sensibly like this. Okay, so what we've got here is 1, 4, and then I've got 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, and then we come up a fret, and I've got 1, 3, 1, 3. So I'm doing a position shift there. So that's okay for getting about, because sometimes people find that stretch a bit difficult. However, what I will say is that there will be times, okay, that you're going to want to do this. You're going to do 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Why? Because sometimes you're going to want to cross your fingers. Sorry, I've got to stretch my hands for this. Sorry. So there will be times you want to do stretches, although that's a very big stretch there. There will be times that you want to do it, especially for 3 notes per string, where we're combining 2 shapes. So having alternate fingerings is important for getting about. That's pretty good. And you can either use your 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Oops. Or 1, 4, or 1, 3. So multiple fingerings, you know. And then when you get 2 positions, you know, you can practice going between them. So do any sort of questions, just put them in the chat, yeah? Alright, let's move to, I'll try this angle as well, position 3. Alright, position 3 is very popular with guitarists. I love this position because we've got a lot of kind of symmetry going on. What we've got is on the first 3 strings, we've got 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. And then we come back a position. And you can go 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 3. So again, fingering wise, that's pretty good. That's fine. That's all good. For this bit, you may want to practice, in fact you will want to practice, instead of going 1, 4, doing 1, 3. so we can get the extra. We can grab a note higher if we want. Yeah. So 1 3 1 3 1 3. Okay. Another interesting thing that you might find fusion players doing. It is, yeah, I'm working in the minor. Is you'll find people doing 1 4 1 4 1 4. Whoops. Now the cool thing about this, that you may see this fingering, is sometimes when we're moving back to a fret, it's easier. It kind of spring loads that first finger. So you'll see players like Brett Garsted and stuff do this, and actually just when they're slightly off the topic, like if they're playing scales, when they have a semitone, they'll even do this. Because you don't get a kind of break in the sound if you're on one string. When we're travelling across strings like this, it's a lot easier to get to that. So that's another option. So we've got option 1, 1 3, 1 3, 1 3, 1 4, 1 4, 1 3. We're also going to practice 1 2, 1 3. Because you will want that extra stretch. But we'll come to that. So that's really that position. So it's these multiple fingerings that are important, you know. I mean, you'll have like one set of fingerings that you feel comfortable with, that you kind of generally use to get about with. So you'll find guitarists like sort of these intervals, and then they just kind of link it together with the odd sort of minor third interval that's in the pentatonic scale. More on that later. Alright, so that's position 3. Right, everybody following along. Let's have some thumbs up, some likes, teaching here. I know it's not for everybody, so there'll be lots of people scrolling past going, what is he on about? This is like school, boring. I think I'll watch some Cats, man. Right. Oh, there's Omar. Hi, Omar. We're learning about the pentatonic scale today. I don't know if that's going to help PhD research, mind. Although I think if there was one thing that was going to unlock all the secrets to the universe, then maybe the pentatonic scale could be the thing. It's such a wonderful thing. Who invented it? No, it was in nature. We know that. Right. Let me know if you're following along. I'll take that as a yes. Have we gone to sleep? Have you gone to sleep? Look, Enzo's... are we going to cover each mode in an open position? No. What, down here? We're doing pentatonic scales. Oh, you mean, are we doing pentatonic substitution? I don't know if we'll have time for that, Enzo. We might do one substitution. Alright. We'll get to it, Enzo. We'll get to it. Potentially. I don't want to cause like overwhelm, and I think that's a separate lesson, because I don't have to like kind of rush into this, because I think actually focusing on learning the positions and the fingerings is going to be core, and then I think the harmony of it is probably another thing. Because what I'll do is then I'll just half-arse go into the harmony. Oh, this is really interesting. And then I'll continue it and it'll all just be a mess. So I kind of want things in the one place, yeah. Are you kidding? Right? Fine. But it's a good point though, because the thing is people might not be like aware of that, you know, there are different pentatonic. You can use multiple different pentatonics in a key. So we'll come to that. Right, okay. Next up, what have we got? What was I? Ah, right, we've done position 1, 2, 3, position 4. Position 4, here we go. We've got, we're on the 7th fret here, and the fingers we're going to use are 1, 4, and we're on frets 7, 10. In fact, you can see kind of what fingerings I'm using, can't you? And then we'll repeat that. And then we're going to use 1, 3. And then here we've got frets 8 and 10. Now that's probably the fingerings I use for this scale the most. That's kind of what I naturally do. However, you will want to practice it. Why? It's because you might want to do a silly arpeggio or something like that, right? So, always practice those two fingerings. That's the one. I think we've got to be versatile, haven't we, though? Dilution. I think we need multiple fingerings so we don't get caught out. That's the main throw of what I'm saying today, is that be open to like weird fingerings, okay, and stretches, because ideally what we want to do is get the most out of this scale. We don't want to just be doing typical up and down sort of pentatonic, typical kind of bluesy licks, although that's like really good and core. We want to be able to expand out of this, don't we? Like something like that. See, I love doing stuff like that, right? And then giving it a bit of a bluesy ending. You know, I'm not warmed up today, but it's a nice little vibe, isn't it, to do that? But the way we're going to get to there is we're going to have to use multiple fingerings, yeah? Keep getting mixed up. Okay, so, and again, just in short, practice all these scales with the 1, 3. Okay. So that is, yes, great vibe. Thank you, Lucian. So that is the next position, right? Okay, position 5. Position 5. Wow, already there. So again. Two position shifts. So position shifting is also going to be an important thing, because there are going to be times where if we do 3 notes per string, 3, 1, 3, stuff like that, then we want to be able to make that kind of those kind of shifts. We want to get used to that. Okay. So that's the first one. 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4 1 3 1 3 3 1 3 1 4 1 4 1 3 1 3 1. But then we want to go 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 3. So at any point we can grab a note that's higher. Yeah. Okay. So having a brain fart there. Position 5, and then we're back to position 1. And then the whole thing just repeats. So those are all of the fingerings. Now, I hope that was clear for everybody. Essentially, okay, you're practicing them with the fingers that are easy to sort of get to the notes, but then you're also practicing using 1 3. Okay, that's what we're doing. Right, any questions before I proceed on to something else? Are you a fan of Opeth? Never really listened to them. So I need to find a track in E minor. Bear with me. Right, well, right, this is like a good track just to kind of can tasteful phrasing be taught? Of course it can, little bite size of it that you can use and like make your own. Of course, yeah. I think everything can be taught, can't it? I don't think there's anything that can't be taught. It just needs to be taught well by somebody who can break it down. Excellent, you're doing great. Tucker, Rucker. Cool. Right. So the next thing is sort of the tension of notes, isn't it? So I think the thing for me is just then understanding the intervals. All right. So when we look at, like, if you're in E minor and we did like an E minor chord like that, or E minor 7, even better. When you're looking at the pentatonic scale superimposed over that, the cool thing about it is that you're hitting a lot of chord tones, okay? Okay, now, so we've got root, and then we've got a minor third. We've got a fourth, which isn't part of that minor 7 chord, and we've got a fifth, and we've got the 7th. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the chord tones. I've got all the chord tones. So this 4th is also an 11th as well, which is a really handy note to have. Now for me, if we're jamming along in E minor, you've got different sort of tensions of notes. I don't know if I can... Should I try and just knock something together here? Let's get this on. Okay, we'll put that on, maybe a bit of a bass. Nothing too distracting. Okay. Add in the ninth, yeah, of course. It would be rude not to. Right, so we've got a bit of a backing track there, just a static thing was what I was wanting. So we've got different tensions and notes, right? So we've got the root. Wherever we find that root. Now, if we start, this is something that St. Guthrie Govan talking quite a bit about this, and he'll be probably more articulate. Well, he will be more articulate than me about it. But if basically, if we start and finish phrases on the root, there isn't very much tension there. You know, we start with zero tension and we come back with zero tension. It's very concluding. We end up leaving home briefly and coming back again. See? It's the root. Oh, cheeky, I've ended on the third there. But we'll do the root again. It just concludes, doesn't it? Okay, so you mess about improvising, starting on the root, no tension, and ending on the root, no tension, and then saying a few things and rooting it back again. Zero tension, I'll say again, not very much tension. So then we have basically the next sort of thing is the minor third, okay? So again, this is probably giving it a little bit more tension. I know that Guthrie described it as sort of a more melodic sound. All right. But let's just try it. To me, it's, you know, you can start and end on this, but it'll feel like you'll want to go back to that root to completely kind of close off the line if you want to fully complete. So, third. So it still feels like it wants to go back to that root. I've ended on the root. See how it completes now. Not the greatest examples in the world. So there we have the roots. That's the first bit of tension, okay, that we're experiencing. We've got 13 likes. Can we have some more? We can't stop on 13. 13 could be unlucky. Somebody do 14. Before you scroll past, just so we're on 14 and not 13. Still on 13. So tension is the tension is feeling the tension in your body of the music wanting to complete and resolve. Okay, So a good example of tension and release would be Thriller, Michael Jackson. So when it starts, da, 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 dun, 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 that bass line that comes in releases that early tension. That song is all about tension. When you hear the verse with the vocal, it's building tension, and then even on the chorus, da, 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 it's all tension. And the tension doesn't get released till you go back to that static bass line that does the dun, 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 dun. So that's an example of tension. Tension. And in music, to make music exciting to the listener, then that's what it's about. It's creating tension in the listener so they're going, whoa, what's going on here? And getting their attention and then releasing the tension so they go, all right, that's all right, phew. And then building the tension again. It keeps people alert, interested and engaged, yeah? So, you could, we can have a phrase like this. In fact, best one is the next one, which is the fourth. So, on the fourth, which is the note A here, because we're in E minor, you'll really hear the tension dilution. So, if I want to keep you listening, we can do this. It's like there's something else that needs to happen. Right now I'll resolve it. This next one. Very little tension, isn't there? Oh, that's nice. I'm not feeling tense now. Back into tension. We've concluded. Low tension. In fact, no tension. So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, well, here we go. So it took us jumping ahead, and this is I've done this ninth chord for a reason, but we're not going into it just now, and it's something I talk about in every single stream when somebody asks me about how to improvise. Tension, yeah. So do we understand tension dilution? Do you understand what I mean? Tension, that's tension, isn't it? That's no tension. So we're just resolving the note so it feels more in sympathy with everything else. Yes. So that's a good point, Tucker. Yeah. Exactly. Very good. Right. Finally, we're on to the fifth. The fifth, I think the fifth has not that much tension. Probably because it's like the Amen cadence kind of thing. This kind of thing. But let's have a listen to it. Here we go, the fifth. Pretty melodic, isn't it? So that sounds very melodic. And there we'll have all of these tensions, which we can now use as a language to keep the listener engaged. How cool is that? And then you mix it all up. Oops, cheating. So some examples there. Alright. I can't remember if I poured a coffee or not. I think I need another one. Alright. Any questions? Cheating? Yeah, I put a 9th in. So I was stretching my arm all yesterday. And I was able to get it from that point to right up my back. If I put my arm around my back, because it only goes to there. Oh, you bugger, that hurts. Oh. So I'm aching away. Of course, I did hours and hours of guitar playing yesterday. Okay, so you want to know where your roots are. So we're in E minor, so open. Good question, this actually. So it's important to find all the E's. So that's another thing you could do. The way I think of it is like this shape. So you'll have like this. So finding your roots. I suppose that gives you some sort of like pivot to go off once you have those, because then you can see round where the root is, where all the other intervals are. So for example, if I'm here, then I know basically the next note up from that root is a minor 3rd, 5th, 7th, 5th, 4th, octave, 3rd. So kind of knowing what those intervals are rotating round it. But actually, when we're improvising, right, we don't want to be thinking of this note is the most tension, right? What you want to do is you just want to learn this now and then jam with it and experiment with it and then forget everything that I've said and then allow this just to become part of your language. And then whatever you're saying, it all becomes subconscious, okay? I'm not consciously thinking this. Unless I start a solo, I think I want the note with the first, like the most tension, so I'll go for the 4th. But like anything after that's just a complete blank, because you're being analytical. You know, you sort of it's more of an internal dialogue that I'm having as opposed to what we're supposed to be doing, listening to the music, which is interesting because when you're teaching like this. That you're teaching, so it's all about explaining something in the internal dialogue and not listening to the music and then suddenly having to listen to the music. It's quite difficult sort of going between the two things because you're consciously having to explain something at the same time as doing it with the music. Very interesting because there's a stark difference for me that's like night and day. So finding the roots, however you do that, I mean, obviously we know that that's an octave. that these are octaves. You know, so you can pick any note, like if we're on A, for example. And I know I can find all the A's like that. Here's an A. I can find some more A's. Yeah. So that's one way you can do it. Which is probably the most fun. Any questions so far? So one cool thing you'll have noticed when I've been talking about note extensions, that that's like a little arpeggio with like loads of notes added in. Something like that. Different lesson, I think. Alright, sorry. Good point. So one thing that took us pointing out here is that you can kind of learn the shapes across octaves, right? And then you can quickly build up visual memory going sort of across. So in other words, if we take let's say, well, because we all know what this root position is. If we take these 4 notes, they just repeat every octave. Thus giving us 4 of the 5 notes. So you've only got 1 more note to add to this. So that's quite a good way to kind of point this out. Oops. A good one, for example, is here. Everybody loves that position. Again, we're in E minor, and this is position 1, 2, position 3. Taking the first 4 notes, jumping up an octave. Now, if we want 1 note missing, if we want to link it, that's the missing note. Before you know it, you're at the bottom of, you've gone from the 12th fret to the lower strings. Just by remembering 4 notes repeated across an octave. Yeah, highly used position. So that's a really handy one. And you can just repeat that for all of the positions. So good that Tucker, you've saved this class. It's just gone up a gear there. Very good. So doing that octave shifting, really important, because that's going to build your visual memory, not just vertically, but horizontally as well. The other things you can do, which are to like improvise on one string. So once you've learned all your scales vertically, you've messed about them with the octave, have a go at sort of visualizing the scales on each string going up and just improvising and having fun with it. When we do that, it's more like the guitar becomes more like a piano, because you can think of a guitar actually like 6 pianos, 6 2-octave pianos stacked on top of each other. Whilst that sounds like complicated, it can also be quite easy for other things, like when we're playing chords and stuff. But however, for moving about, we can just kind of do stuff on one string. Oh, cheated again. And then you can do every string, right? And then, once you've done one string, do 2 strings. And so on and so forth. You'll have players like Greg Howe. I've heard him talking about, let's say we're in, because we're in E minor, if we take the E minor pentatonic scale, and we run it up on the 3rd string, we can think of that as a motorway, right? Taking us to different positions, right? Different villages, different hamlets if you're in England, right? So you can have a and it can take you off into a different area of the fretboard. So we can go off into different areas on the fretboard and explore them, basically. So shifting positions, and the way we're going to shift positions is just learning these scales. And you can just learn them like using your first finger. Like shifting with your first finger is a really good idea because it gives you all of these fingers available, right? Whereas like you're working backwards, so shifting with your first finger is cool. So that's all really shifting mainly with my first finger. Okay. Any questions? Anybody want to ask me anything? So another thing that I'll just leave you with as well, or should probably be more than that, is just like I like to do pentatonic substitution because we've got 5 notes. Okay, there are notes missing, right? And one note I particularly like is you've got thousands dilution, right? You just start listing the questions out now because it'll be stuff that everybody else is thinking. So I want to hear these questions, and if you just do a list now of as many as you can, I'll try and get through them. Now you'll notice, as it was pointed out by Tucker, I've got a 9th chord here, so I've got a 7th, and I've added this 9th note, which I absolutely love. I mean, maybe it's not 1,000 questions, but, 3 for now. But I don't want you going away going, I wish I asked that question. That would have made everything so clear, because there'll be lots of other people who are also thinking that. So there's no such thing as a stupid question. In fact, it's all the stupid questions are the stuff that we need to get out of the way with, because there isn't a stupid question, but we're all thinking it, but too scared to ask. I've asked ridiculous questions. I pride myself on asking stupid questions, so it's out of my head and I don't have to think about the stupidity anymore. Like, stupid questions, I can't think of a stupid question, like, do you have to plug your guitar into an amp? Can you plug it straight into the electricity socket? I'd be like, just so I'm not thinking about it, and then, in case I act upon that and then blow myself up. You're not scared, that's good. Hit me with it. Come on, dilution. Very good point. Also, people should point out that I should point out, very well put, Tucker. I'm glad you're here. Because I didn't bother planning, I just crashing into this, whatever. Right. Basically, everything that's on here is the same here. Okay? It's all the same. Those 2 strings. So that kind of takes 1/3 of the work out of it, doesn't it? I think. There you go, he's taught thousands. So yeah, very good. So that string, E, is the same as the E string here, because it has to be, because they're both the same. Just one's 2 octaves lower. Right. Okay. So, Tucker, as you're here, has everything I said been okay information? Just want to make sure. Am I cool to go ahead, do the next bit? Which is a pentatonic hack. I mean, there's no hack, but I'm just saying it because, like, YouTube, like that kind of stuff. Hey, here's a hack. One thing you can do, once you've learned all your pentatonic scale, if you want to get into some upper extensions, you can use pentatonic substitutions. So try playing over an E minor progression, like B minor. And what that does is it just gives us this F sharp note. Have a listen. Nice, isn't it? B minor pentatonic. Can you mix up V minor? D minor. Here's this in the first position. Now, the way to find this, right, is you're just going to play the minor pentatonic a fifth higher. So if we think where the fifth is, like your bar chord, we're starting a minor pentatonic there, which is on the note B. We go to our first string, find B. There's our first position, which everybody knows. So, Tucker's got a new job. You know how we've got Des who comes on here and he's the guitar quality control officer, right? We've now got Tucker who is now Chief Educational Standards Officer. He's there in the background doing an observation, keeping me right. So yeah, so we're going a fifth higher, put the pentatonic scale, we end up with the B minor pentatonic. So when we're in E minor, we can also use B minor. There's a few different minor scales we can use, a few different minor pentatonic scales we can use, but I'm just putting B out because it's basically one of my favourite. Beautiful, isn't it? So basically the notes that we get with this B minor, if we look here, so if we take B minor, 1, 2, third position, we get the root, we get the ninth, we get the fourth or the 11th, and we get the fifth, and we still get a seventh, but we don't have a third. Now, if you were to add the third to this, what we end up getting is what we call a hexatonic scale, which is a thing. I don't particularly, I'm not a fan of kind of learning the hexatonic scale because it doesn't really give me much in terms of playability and just a headache with muscle memory. A good hack is, as well as having E minor pentatonic, B minor pentatonic, giving us all those extra notes, is we can think of the hexatonic as just one extra note added to the E minor scale, E minor pentatonic scale, which would be this ninth note. And what that does is it means we've still got all of our licks, and then we're just thinking about acting, putting that extra one note in. Yeah. Now that's another lesson, okay? What I am doing, in fact, that would be another lesson, wouldn't it? When we go into full minor. But what Tucker's pointing out there is that the good news is, right, and it's all good news, we've got the pentatonic scale, 5 notes. We add one more note for it to be a hexatonic scale. We've got 6 notes. Well, there are only 7 notes in the whole like major minor scale, all right? So if we add one more note, we've got the full scale, okay? But for today, we're just going to stick with our 5 notes plus this one note. Because then we're starting to get into modes and stuff like that, and that's a different thing altogether. Because there's a lot kind of going on with sort of the modes, but we all do need to know our modes. But what I'd like to do is, leave you with all of that information that I've given you so far. Now, I've been doing this off the top of my head. I haven't done a lesson plan or anything like that. I've just crashed into this. So it's good that Tucker was there, because I would have been kicking myself out going, I could have done that. But we've got a huge amount of information, and you've got enough stuff on this video to really, really, really get you going and get good results. Now, the way that you're going to get the best results, right, isn't from somebody telling you spoon feeding you every single bit of information. The way to get good is to experiment, do your own experiments, use this scale like it's a language. Play, put backing tracks on, okay? Use this, learn it in E minor, but move it into different keys. Play solos on just one string, play it on vertically, mix positions up. There's a lot of work to be done just with what I've got that'll give you miles and miles and miles of good usage and satisfaction. And then we can get sort of more complicated, building upon this pentatonic framework, yeah. But I do like using, like, even when we get into scales and the 7-note scales, I do like the idea of using the pentatonic scale as a framework of reference, because I know that if we land on these notes, we're going to be all right. We're going to sound melodic. We're going to sound good. So whatever we chuck at it, as long as we kind of got that as a framework, you're going to get good results. Yeah, and there. So Tucker has said it very articulately. Play with them, follow simple progressions in positions, and you'll be flying like Tim in no time at all. There you go. Or Tucker, because I bet he flies about the fretboard. So, there we have it. Apart from this, there are licks you can learn and all of this sort of thing, but at the end of the day, it all comes back to this framework. So, when you're on YouTube and you're looking at, like, this is a great pentatonic lick, fine, learn that pentatonic lick, but also analyze it and see how it is, those notes, in relation to all the other positions. And can you then adapt whatever that lick is to, like, other pentatonic positions? This is how we learn. But I think the main thing is just using it in your own way as a language. I think, like, the older I'm getting, the less I kind of worry about technique, because actually when you play over enough music, there's only like so fast you can go, and then it sounds like ridiculous. So you don't, like, it's nice to have the capacity and use it, but it's not totally 100% necessary as well. So what I would suggest is enjoy making music that's melodic and that brings emotion out as well. All right, and I think the next lesson we're going to have on pentatonic scales is so again, that's kind of what we're doing earlier. Learn to hear the intervals of the pentatonic in contrast to the chord you're over, and you'll hear that, So it's very, like, one thing about the pentatonic scale is you can easily sing it in your head. And you want to be listening to your head singing to you, listen to the music and try and follow what's there. So you might not have something straight away, but just start. Now if you get used to what Tuck is saying, each note is scale, what you'll find is music will just appear in your head. Now an interesting game which I saw Tim Miller do, which I think is brilliant, is when you start having ideas popping into your head, enjoy following them, but try this. You start an idea, and then don't play the next idea, wait, and then play the next one after that. And that's a really good thing, because it gets you to pause. Like having silence in music, and I should pay more attention to this, is very dramatic, okay? And then playing the next idea. Just getting used to playing the ideas that come into your head over it. And if you just get close to them, that's fine, you know? If you miss them and just do something brilliant might happen. But at the end of the day, we're just practicing listening to the internal melody that's actually naturally happening. Because remember what I said about Leonard Bernstein and language, the pentatonic scale is naturally programmed into our DNA. So we should pay attention to what our head does. So I'm just waiting. Just waiting for the ideas. Yeah, don't worry about the speed, worry about the phrasing, because each note has a personality. It's a living, breathing organism that should have a voice. Okay, so there are some ideas. Yeah. So each note has a personality, which you can bring out with vibrato, sliding, bending. Like, that's like no personality, isn't it? That's like your driving instructor. Sorry, driving instructors, but they have to be professional. So, but you know, we can make notes. Breathe. Be a bit rude. Soft and romantic. Now, this brings me on to one very important thing, and that is health and well-being, right? And music is an amazing protective factor when we are stressed, having a bad time, because life can chuck absolute misery at us, right? Being able to sit there and being able to channel some emotion through your instrument is really, really important. It's comforting, it's relaxing, it regulates mood. How do I know this? Because I work as a therapeutic musician in the hospital. I've done this job for years and years and years. I've worked with people, severe autism, learning difficulties, personality disorders, tons of work in mental health, tons of work in like acute wards, high dependency, rehabilitation. I've done it all, right? And one thing across the board is like being able to channel our emotions through an instrument, however we can, any instrument, is really, really important to regulating, calming mood. The Lydian's great, and I use it loads. So I'll use that quite a lot. It's a work thing. In fact, I don't want that sound, do I? We wouldn't use our E minor pentatonic scale. We don't get any Lydian notes, so unless we use the hexatonic. So we're in C Lydian. If we use, the B minor pentatonic, or go one note down from the root, that gives us that Lydian note. But I'm going off topic from the lesson. Hi Chili, how are you doing? Good to see you on here. Let's have some more likes. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, because that reminds me. There you go. If you know your minor, major scales, then technically you know the 7 modes. Yeah. So, in other words, a scale is a scale, and a mode is a subset of a scale. So if you learn G major, you know all of your modes, and all that muscle memory that you've built in learning all the positions is the same for every scale. Every mode, I should say. A mode is a mode, a scale is a scale. It's like if you have the melodic minor is a scale, and then we have a subset of the melodic minor is the melodic minor modes. And the modes, dictated by what the chord progression is. So I think that's about me done for today. So hopefully we've found that lesson. That's been pretty good. I mean, I filled in an hour and a half with doing this. That's all right, Chili. At least you're here. I think I'll have to do your own special stream and actually do it in an appropriate time. In fact, what time is a good time to do a stream? Not that I'll be available, but just so I know. What time's a good time? Do you think 7 o'clock's a good time? Because I've done them before, like late, and it's been like tumbleweeds. So I never know, really. What is a good time? I'm assuming 7, 8 o'clock is probably the best time UK to catch like everybody in the world, so to speak. And then for in the east, it's 3 o'clock, isn't it? Something like that. I had my shift hours change. Ah, right. 3 a.m. there. Wow. Well, yeah, chords are really important. But I would never say to somebody, you have to learn your chords before you have to do this. What I would say is just do what your interest is, but understand that chords are really important because they're the things that you're playing over. So yes, chords are very important. They go hand in hand, because your chords, your arpeggio, and that's another thing we can do in improvisation. And one thing I really enjoy is but as well as using the pentatonic scale like we have been doing, like I'm suggesting those are your target notes, that we can use arpeggios as target notes. But that's a whole different thing. Oh, and then there's one book recommendation I would give everybody. Let's see if I've got it. So if you want everything in one place, right, in terms of our sort of regular modes, going through to altered dominant, which is not something I particularly do, but should, then this book's really good. I don't know how many are left in the world, right, but really you should snap these up if you can. I should get another copy because it would absolutely, I'll be gutted, because I just love working through this book anyway, even though I kind of know most of it. It's just such a handy reference book to have, and there's always like other things that I find that really help me. So the Frank and Barley technique book, it's not about economy picking. It's not technique about that. The technique is about what we're talking about, learning your scales and improvising, but in a really concise, methodical, easy to understand way. So I highly recommend this book. And one of the things is I really like about this book is it's like handwritten. It was made with love. Look, there's like funny little quote. You can almost imagine being in the class with Frank, can't you? And getting his hand out. There you go, class. That's what we're working on today. It's like handwritten stuff. Beautiful. So get that. It's only about, what, $20 or something? But it'll be the best $20 you've spent. Alright, so I think that's enough from me. Please do like the channel. Please, I think this is adequately named. I will try and name it a little bit better. So this live is here for your reference. The next session I do tomorrow, I'll be jamming, and we'll call that a Q&A. So please do some practice this week. Experiment with the ideas that I've shown you, and we'll follow up this week. So if there's questions, I want to hear them. Don't be silent. Don't be quiet. All right? Because one thing about this channel is I want to save people time and not, like, go on ridiculous, like, rabbit holes on YouTube doing stuff, because obviously stuff like this is important. It can save you lots of time. The time here is 8:05, and I'm going to head off now. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.